Well, you could come back as the cameraman.
What'd you say?
You could come back as the cameraman.
Oh, yeah.
After you retire.
Wait, have it?
Good.
I have it?
I'll think about that in my dreams.
Dennis, what is that? I never knew we had one. They don't let them up to work anymore.
And that's really what
Pretty much.
I saw the first one today.
First one.
Pine tree license plate. 440.
Sounds like
You ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Call the meeting to order. We'll start by saluting the flag.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I take a motion for the May 1 minutes. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? The adjustments to the agenda.
I have nothing, sir.
Public comment.
Do you make those in terms of who comes in first or?
I'll ask.
Jim Skinner, 109 Beechwoods Road, and I'm representing myself, and I'm just to mention that I was in 2018, I was on the original dam committee before bankrupt had to put the plate in and had to do the rebuild and all that kind of thing. So I've been following the history of the dam and what's been done to it and what the water intake and outtake. And I'm really pleased to see that you have on your agenda an item about the history, because that's one of the reasons I'm here. So the water, as everybody knows, is really, really high. And I do a lot of site visits around the lake and all the towns. And in the last 3 weeks, I've probably done like maybe 10 site visits. And on May 1st, I called the town and I said, the water's too high. It's already 3 inches high. And we're having a storm that's going to come up. And, you should be able to get the water out. You're actually behind schedule. Get the water out earlier. It shouldn't be at 3 inches high when it's fine weather. And then we had an onslaught of water. And everybody I'm talking to, only 20, 30 people are really worried about their property. The water is coming up over the soft soil, and it's hitting the trees that are already, some of them are already leaning, because they lean out to get some fresh sun. And those trees can end up being soak up the water and they get smothered. And the soft soil goes away, and then it gets eroded under the collar there. And then if you get waves, the waves then splash up, and then the water and the soil goes into the lake and whatnot. And I and the people I've talked to are really, really concerned about that. And what I'm asking for some hope and some help that the water level can be managed more effectively than it has been in the last 4 years since the dam was partially rebuilt. And I noticed that the third stream is finally been moved. It used to be at the fence, and now it's up on blocks, and it's closer to the gate to the dam. And one of the reasons, and I was glad that somebody from the Department of Public Works made a, I guess it was a Facebook comment twice about, have patience and you gotta let the water out, and it's difficult to let the water out. And perhaps IFNW, Northern Fish and Wildlife were more interested in saving the salmon, so they didn't want to open up the third middle gate because there's no fish stream there. And that's the reason why you can't exit the water. We know that the water only goes out about an inch a day. So when there's no rain coming, if you're already 3 inches up, you have to be out early before a rainstorm comes. And although it wasn't really a big rainstorm, it was long, it was a soak-up. And it wasn't like a torrential thing like we had the last couple of years. We've had 4 inches, followed by a couple of days later, another 3 or 4 inches. And one of the key things to remember about water that comes into the lake over the whole area is that if you get 2 inches of water, that's 4 to 6 inches of water in the lake, which brings the water level up. And that's why the water level was 3 inches below the top of the dam. And what that means is that it's 9 inches above where it's supposed to be, or actually it's supposed to be at 16 inches below the dam at this point. But fortunately, we've lost a little bit of water in the last couple of days when it's sunny. Although, the water still keeps coming down the hill because it's in the land behind the shoreline, and it keeps on until it finally dries out. So the water table finally gets down to the level of the water. So it's you have a couple of days of sun afterwards doesn't mean that the water's not coming into the areas there. So my question is why for the last 4 years have you not used that gate? I know that the water and the leaves and all that debris that comes in, it obstructs the water because the gates were not designed right to begin with. Jim Pellerin at the IFNW mentioned that when you actually wanted to buy the gates, he said that they really aren't going to work. They're not going to work. And probably you didn't put the third gate in there because it wasn't going to work, and you didn't want to rake it off. Like it takes a lot of time for the people in the Department of Public Works to rake the leaves off from debris and things like that. But the fact of the matter is, if that third gate was in, you would have been able to open up the gate a couple of inches before Jim Pellerin said it was okay. Because originally he said you can't open up the middle gate because the fish will go away. And one of the things he said actually was, if the fish go into the lake, we're not going to stock it. The IFNW is not going to stock the lake. And we know we're a fishing lake. So there's a lot of difficult issues here. We've got potential falling trees. We've got eroded soil. We've got docks that sometimes they float away because they're wooden and they're not tied down. And then we get the difficulty of the fish. So what I'm asking is, can we make a way to let the water out more quickly in the condition that the dam is in now, and put in the fish stream? That'll help, because then we can open up the third gate. The east gate can't let everything out, and the west gate is only got 4 slots in it, so it's tough to do that. So you need that one to be able to do that. Also, if you could get somebody who would really look and understand what the current weather is now and the current weather is going to come in a couple of days, they can plan earlier, like about 2 or 3 days earlier, to start letting the water out. Certainly, you don't want to have already 3 inches when it's sunny over the limit, because you're never going to catch up, and that's what happened. Now, when the dam is 3 inches from the top of the dam, you are in danger. It's almost like Russian roulette. If another storm comes, what would happen? Overtopping the dam And when you overtop the dam, the structure becomes compromised. So I'm asking you, how can we do this? One of the things that when I was at that dam committee in 2018, we had a four-town consortium. We put money in, each town put money in, we had $165,000 or $75,000 in a sinking fund. You use that as part of the extra $200,000 or $300,000 that you did to fix the dam, which is great. I mean, it worked out well. Thank you. However, there's more things to be done. Do you know that Jim Pellerin wrote a 5-page white paper telling things that should be done and things that in fact should be required? The shape, a maintenance plan, a management plan for long term. And if those things haven't been done now, you really are behind the ball. And that's what I'm saying is I think it's time to not get behind the ball, not get behind that 8 ball, but to do something. And I'm hoping that the fish stream will be a small part of it. The other thing I would hope is, and I don't want to bore you anymore with my unhappiness and many people's unhappiness about the water level not being managed well. But one of the things I would hope for is that you would really consider not being the only people on this lake that care about maintaining the lake, but that you open up your understanding of who can help and how they can help. And Otisfield and Casco built a dam. They cooperated, and they managed their dam, and it's really a good effect. Otisfield, Casco, and Poland could be your allies, could be your partners to really look at what needs to be done, how you can do it, and then make a plan for how to fund it and how to actually create this without having to build a whole new dam, which is one of the things that people were worried about before was, oh my God, it's going to be $1.5 million to do that. We can't tax people for all that kind of thing. So thank you for the investment 4 years ago, because the boards were bending out, and if they had bent out, we would have had all water would have been out. But just think, if the dam is overtopped and compromised, and it can't hold the water in, and the water level goes down 4 feet, what is going to happen to the tax base? It's going to disappear. And in order to keep your coffers full of the tax revenues, you're going to have to raise the taxes on the people who are not on the lake. Because the disproportionate amount of the taxes are paid by the people who are on the lake. They got higher value and they pay higher taxes. So I'm going to rest with that, and I'm going to say, please do something about planning, because you have not planned for the last 4 years. Thank you very much.
Do you have any comments on that, other than the fish gate? Well, that's great.
I mean, the only thing to add is that, yes, the board has aware of Mr. Pellerin's report that was shared a few years back when he provided that. It is timely, the fish gate is on, that'll be on for discussion tonight. One of the things that was been discussed in the budget process that was also identified, if I remember right, by Mr. Pellerin, and then just observation is the retaining wall that's down there as well.
Yes.
That retaining wall, we've been, I say we, meaning the selectmen in the town, have been putting money aside in the reserve account to build up enough money to be able to replace that retaining wall, working with Pine Tree Engineering they just did a survey, and they're working on design of the replacement and some estimated costs so that we can move forward with that. So this thing with the fish gate has been very frustrating in the sense it's been difficult, and then I'll talk about this more in a little bit. It's been difficult to get a contractor who has got the availability and is qualified to do it.
Yes, doctors are expensive.
Yep. So that's just a couple of tidbits.
Well, thank you. It would be, I think, helpful not just to have a couple of blurbs from the Department of Public Works saying, please have patience, because quite frankly, the people I talk about are impatient if things haven't been done. So if you could publicize what your plans are, provide a time idea about what needs to be done and when it can be done, you would, I think, alleviate a lot of people's frustrations and anxiety about the fact that the water is coming up onto their property and their property is disappearing. One of the problems with water making this shore disappear is because we have high winds and high waves, and then we have some increasing boats that make waves, which then attack the shore. So it's a problem. It's not just the water in the lake, it's the water and the movement. So thank you again, and I hope that you can come out with a public statement about what you plan to do, when you plan to do it, how much it's gonna cost, and where the revenue is gonna come from, all of those which are part of planning a business opportunity. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments tonight? Lois?
These are just questions I have. Do we
Okay.
still walk the town lines? Or do we give that up?
Do
Remember,
we still what?
walk the town lines? I think it was every 10 years we were supposed to meet with the other abutting towns and walk them. Have we done that? Okay. Do we need to do that?
Usually you will get something in the mail telling you that that is starting. And if you haven't seen anything, I recall that from all the other towns, is a letter comes telling you that that process is getting ready to start. So I don't know when it was done here last,
I think,
but the towns are
I'm gonna say
notified.
it's 12 years.
Okay, the towns are notified.
So who makes the decision that it starts?
From what I recall, I remember when Raymond Colby was here. He was always involved in that process. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, and the guy that does
Right.
wood lot.
Billy Newcomb.
Yeah.
Yes,
He went, I think the last time I remember, and it was Michael, it was, he and Dennis Sanborn,
Yes, and he was involved too.
was supposed to be a selectman, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
There might be something in the file. I can't think of what it's actually called right now. So if I can think of it, I'll let
Okay,
you
that's
know, but
one.
there might be something.
Can we get the lights, I didn't even know you, the, PFs levels in the lake and, well, all surrounding waters. They did, remember they did, is Ricky here? No,
PFAS.
PFAS, yeah. They did the two brooks that are out there and that field and so forth. Down, no, you don't know, okay. Well, anyway, see Ricky Jack, because they did the brooks, what are the names of the brooks were right there? Meadowbrook and the other one. Say it again? No, right there, it was just right there on Sam Grove Hill. That they came in and they sent it, we all got a report, well, I got. a
Oh, you're
report.
talking about the down below, as you go down below the hill.
Yeah, and
Oh, it comes right in on your property, what is it?
yes, that's the other one. So the two brooks in the field, and I think there are a couple of wells done too. Well, anyway, I wondered if we could get more of them done in the town, I don't know.
There's any brooks in the field, one field. Only one field, brook I know is in Dr. Murch's field.
I gotta put my thing back, thank all the good canteen. I took it out and I forgot it.
I said the only brook that I know that goes into a field in East Oxford is Dr. Murch's.
Yeah. Well,
That's
no, that brook comes all the way down to Colby's, comes all the way down to 121.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, I thought you was talking about East Oxford.
Well, basically, that's where they started, but they follow it. The state or whoever does it follows it to its
It
ending.
goes into Little Ambassador.
Yes, where it goes in there. And so I just wondered if we had other things that we could check.
Minister Brook is the one down below towards your.
Yeah, he said that, yeah. Anyway, that's one you can, maybe you can get some more of it. And the other one is the airport. Did we ever get rid of all the chemicals that were at the airport? I keep listening to that and Brunswick, and they were there. So did we get rid of them? I think you were one of the guys up there at the time.
The only chemicals were there were the paints when I was there.
No, we had the phone too.
It might be worth posing the county commissioners meeting, because they're the ones that run the airport.
Yeah. I don't remember the poem, I remember paints, because of the guy rehabbing the planes there.
Yep.
Yep.
But it was an airport, so
We got
it
rid
had
of
the
the,
same setup.
I know we got rid of the paints, but I don't know anything about foam.
Well, can somebody find that out? Or is that?
The town
You can-
doesn't own the airport or
You
run
can
the
go,
airport.
you can go to the
does.
county, and ask the
No,
county.
but it owns all the water that's underneath that, I mean, it's everybody's drinking water. So I do think it's important, but you're saying it's going to come from the county commissioners?
Well, county owned.
We don't have any jurisdiction over it. The town doesn't.
Really?
No.
Okay. I guess that's all.
Anybody else have any questions? All right. Business items. 5-1, review and award 100-yard compactor waste hauling RFP.
Very quick recap, this was out the other month, we received a few bids. The board felt, in a nutshell, they were a little bit high, so we put them back out to bid again. Town received 4 bids this time, 207 Waste LLC for $445 a haul, AJ Griffin Inc. for $450 a haul, Pine Tree Waste Casella, $330 a haul, Almighty Waste, $279 a haul. Spoke to Ed Knightley about it as well. In the past, Almighty's done the hauling for us. They were good to work with, no complaints. They were responsive. So they are the lowest bidder, and I think from both Ed and I, that would be our recommendation to move forward with that if the board would consider it.
They meet all the specs, all the asks and the bid.
So,
Did you second it, Sharon?
Yes.
Okay. Any more discussion on it? All in favor? 5-2, review and sign MSAD 17 warrant for the budget validation referendum.
Motion to approve.
second,
Get something called? What'd you say?
Sharon made the motion, Colby seconded.
Second it. Any more discussion? All in favor?
They're asking for 2 originals, so you guys will be so kind. And just a reminder, the district budget meeting is May 20th, and then, of course, the referendum vote date will be on the 10th of June. Thank you.
Yes, sir. 5-3, June 2025 town meeting warrant.
All right, so everybody has a copy of the updated town meeting warrants. This is the same as we've looked at last few meetings. Just want to make sure that everybody's aware we've got the included articles for the road bond. We have the included article for the 4th Street Cemetery and the included article regarding referendum town meeting versus open town meeting as well. So if everybody's satisfied with everything, I would ask that the board approve and sign the warrant.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Get you a copy of that.
Coming at you. reminder to those in the room, town meeting will be in this room again this year, so. Seemed to work good last year.
Any debate?
Thank you, sir.
5-4, Thompson Lake Dam Center fish screen.
All right, we kind of touched on this a few minutes ago. The long and short of it is that Jim Bennett, our public works foreman, has been reaching out to different contractors. He was able to make contact with Bancroft Contracting. They were willing to give us a quote of $18,350 to install that center fish screen on the center gate. That's been a thing that we've been trying to do for the last 3 or 4 years. It's just we've been having a hard time finding a contractor with the ability and time to do it. So that includes the installation of the gate, which is divers and a boom truck and personnel and so forth. So I'm asking permission from the board to move forward with Bancroft's offer and use the funding from the Thompson Lake Dam Reserve to do it.
Funding's over there.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any more discussion?
I have a timeline on when they're gonna do it.
They think they can get to this within the next 2 weeks if I give them the go-ahead tomorrow.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
Town clerk's office report. That was,
Certainly. So you folks have already met our new hires, Audrey Swayze and Chris Marson. Audrey has been promoted to the position of deputy clerk, and both are continuing the required training. I am currently preparing and working on the town report and prepping for the town meeting and municipal election. The Secretary of State has completed their purge of inactive voters, and our office is working on removing those voter cards from our voter file. While doing this, we're also looking for and correcting any inaccuracies that we may have in our voter list. I've been working on updating our forms internally and ensuring we are using the correct forms from the state of Maine for different applications across what we do up front. 30-day notice of impending liens will be mailed out at the end of this month. We are now live streaming our meetings directly to our YouTube channel, and I'm still working on uploading previously recorded meetings to our website. The website will be transitioning to a new platform that should be more user-friendly, and through that transition, there's going to be different updates that they're making, which will also allow us to do adding different tabs such as local business listings. And the town manager and I have been having discussions on how to better track and store our cemetery records, making the town clerk a front-facing office to allow for a third cashier when we need one out there, and adding public Wi-Fi for customer use due to the number of customers that need documents on their phones when they have things to do with the clerk's office.
ready. Any questions, Goldie?
Question. Do you get notified from the inland fisheries about registrations on four-wheelers and what the weight limits are?
So we have the new requirements, so on the width, if they're over 65 inches, we can't register them. And there's the weight limit, and if they have if it's a brand new one, then they need to bring in their certificate of origin, we verify the weight. But if they don't, it's their statement saying if they feel it's within the weight for the state of Maine. So, and if they get caught and it's overweight, it's on the owner if they make a false statement.
What is the weight?
I would have to get
The weight right now is 2,000 pounds.
Okay, yeah. 60
Of the
seconds.
machine?
The machine might have 2,000 pounds on it on the sales certificate. But when you add all your options to it, like the cover, windshield, winch, underbelly, jacked up, and that usually gets up around 2,900. But now they've been going around with the bigger ones that weigh 3,000 pounds. The people that have bought them and registered them, now inland fisheries going around and giving them tickets and telling them they get to stop using them on state of Maine trails. even after they bought them.
So they can only use them on public, on their own land?
They can use them on their own land.
Yeah.
But they still gotta be, you can use them on your own land, it's still gonna be registered, but you can't register them in the state name.
It sounds like we need to pass a new law.
We tried to do that, and Inland Fisheries Committee shut it down and kicked our bill out. Because we got too many complaints with Southern Maine. Northern Maine and Eastern Maine wanted the 3,000, but Southern Maine doesn't.
Well,
And many of
See
these
a whole lot.
four-seaters are,
UTVs flying around Portland.
especially if you put hard doors on them.
There you know. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Town manager's update.
All right, well, the first quick thing, Rabbit Valley Road from the casino down to the ponds, down at the bottom of the hill. The RFP for that has been put out. I went ahead and attached to your packet here, just if you want to see it, the posting that's on the website, but Pine Tree Engineering's taking care of all that for us. So if anybody's interested in that, we ask that everybody go through Pine Tree Engineering because they're collecting and reviewing all of the bids that we received. The other thing is, I've put together the handouts for town meeting for the board. I'll also be making copies for town meeting to have like we did last year. We've got names on them, so that's me. So colleague Sharon, if we pass those down. Thank you. So this is just the reference material. It should look a little bit familiar from last year. We've got a summary in the front and just a couple of quick points. The articles, as you go through, are labeled and tabbed so that there's quick reference, just like was done in the past. Different ones, for instance, with general government administration, it shows what the budget increase is and notes what the notable changes are. I didn't go through and note every single change, just, things with monetary value or changes to operations and that kind of stuff. So with all of the budgetary ones that's been done, I also attempted to provide some explanation and backup when it comes to like the fire department, explaining the differences between the two options that are on the table. Also, when we move even further in with some of the articles with debt service, I attempted to also go into detail about last year. There was some questions that not on town meeting floor, but I was asked questions about when does the debt expire, those kind of things. So I included that kind of stuff in there as well. So just in general, I hope it's comprehensive and helpful. If the board members are looking at this and you see something that you wish to be added or changed, if you can let me know, please. But my hope is that this helps us all be on the same page and helpful. Like I said, I'll make these up. They won't be in binders, but we'll make them up in paper copies for a town meeting to have in reference to. I feel like it's helpful. I hope other people do too. So.
We get out.
And I take it where I can get it when it comes to being on that stuff. I would ask that the board take a couple of minutes, maybe between now and the next time we see each other, and just look at the explanation that I've provided for the road bond, which is Article 35, and the explanation regarding the cemetery, 4th Street Cemetery. Just if you can take a look at those two, just make sure that you folks agree with that. And then lastly, Article 37, which is the referendum town meeting. I tried to do my best to encompass what we've discussed on that. So that's all I got for you.
Do we have any selectmen items tonight? About warrant 77 through 100.
I actually wanted to bring this.
That's always the game. Game for one time.
Don't worry, if you're not here next meeting, we'll bring it.
Hmm?
If you're not here next meeting, we'll grab it.
Okay. So, next meeting is the last one.
Well, I guess you should be here.
Okay, so.
Causing trouble down there, are you?
Huh?
You're not causing trouble down there, are you?
Anything like that?
Make a motion, we sign warrants 97, 98, 99, 100.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Your motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Have a good night, folks.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.